Hi, I'm so glad you're here to stitch this rudbeckia with me. If you stitched the sunflower with me on my bouquet sampler number 1, then this will feel very familiar to you. We're actually using the same stitch, which is called the spiral trellis stitch, for the middle of the flower, and doing the same thing with the flower petals. With our satin stitching, we're just using different colors to give it a different effect. So to start off my spiral trellis stitch, I'm outlining the circle with a back stitch. If you don't have any experience with this stitch or you've never heard of it, I suggest clicking the tutorial. I'll link it above to my beginner tutorial on this stitch so you can see what it looks like. It's a little bit hard to see what I'm doing with this darker thread, so I do apologize, but this is not the only video I have on this stitch, so if it's new to you, then definitely go and check out one of those other videos where you can see what I'm doing a little bit more clearly. Now that my back stitching is all in place, I'm going to bring my needle up through the fabric, and the rest of the stitch is going to be all on the surface of our hoop. So we're not going to bring our needle down through the fabric until the very end of the stitch. So what I'm doing is bringing it underneath each of the back stitching and creating little loops that'll pull in toward the center of our flower. I've got my first row of loops here. Now I'm going to go around and do the same thing by just adding on to them, coming through the previous loops and adding on a new loop to each one. And that's really all the spiral trellis stitches. Each time you want to pull it toward the center. You don't want to pull it too tightly. Just keep your tension about the same throughout the entire stitch. If it's too tight, then it's going to be hard for you to add loops on. When you get to a point where you want to stop, like I did here, there's a couple ways you can finish it. This way I'm just going through the most previous loops I had, weaving my needle and thread through and pulling it in toward the center. And it's just gonna kind of cinch everything together. And once I've got all my ducks in a row, I'm just gonna plunge my needle back through one of those loops down through the fabric and tie a knot on the back side. Now for all my flower petals, I'm using a size 10 embroidery needle with only 2 strands of my embroidery thread, and it's just a normal satin stitch, so I like to start with the tallest point of each flower petal, bring it in all the way down toward the center of the flower, and then taper in the rounded edges of the shape in toward the center of that first stitch that I made, just slightly. And there she is, all finished and pretty. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time.